Hello, I didn't mean to keep you waiting forever. My name is Dr. Carlson. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you. I guess I've been better.
Well, I was looking at your chart. I guess you have some people after you. Is that correct?
Yeah, it doesn't matter where I go. They're everywhere. They're ruining my life.
Well, is there a reason they're after you? Who are these people?
Some of them I know, but some of them are complete strangers.
So you're at the bottom of a conspiracy. It sounds like. And what kind of things do they do to you?
They know things. They they must have cameras in my house and in my vehicle. I don't know. It almost seems like they can read my mind.
Well, why don't you be a little more specific and give me an example of the things they say anyway?
Well, somebody broke into my house and they didn't take anything or ruin anything that was valuable, but they stole a bunch of my underwear. And
Let me get this straight. They're taking your undergarments? Do you think that this some kind of a sex cult or something?
no, let me explain. I had 3 different colors of underwear. I had blue, gray, and red. They only left the red ones.
Okay.
And when I would go out into public, right after that, I had people coming up to me and saying, "You must drink a lot of Red Bull," or "I bet your favorite gum is Big Red. It's always about red," and then laughing. I don't even know them. How would they know?
Well, that does sound pretty strange.
Sorry, Doctor, we forgot to put a wristband on him when we brought him into the psychiatric side.
Well, I really hope you don't make a habit of that. Well, I guess if we gotta do it, let's do it so I can get back to helping the patient.
Okay, let's get this on you so we can get you some help. Hope you don't mind the color red. You look like you like the color red. Everybody likes color red. Okay, have a good day.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a joke, but I think that I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, would you even dare tell anybody, guys? A lot of the things that you are dealing with are just completely ridiculous. Nobody would believe you. And I've talked about the labyrinthian nature of the ordeal that targeted individuals get put in. It's ridiculous. I mean, some of the stories out there are so intricately put together. The conspiracy is weaved together in such a way that unless you saw it for yourself, you wouldn't believe it. And even some of the people, and I've talked about this as well, that are just wondering if they're in a matrix or if they're in hell or something like that, some type of psychosis, because, even though you've witnessed it for yourself, you still don't believe it. You still have a hard time comprehending what's going on. Telling people about this is not really an option. Even if you've got evidence, you have to be very careful. You never know who you're going to be dealing with. You never know what kind of situation you're in. And, not even to get into the logistics of some of the stuff that targeted individuals are dealing with. The isolation is ridiculous, right? Even if you still have a social life, the people around you, they're not going to be dealing with this kind of stuff, right? And, I think that, and I've seen this too, by the way, I think that a lot of times targeted individuals, they're drawn out by that type of mundane talk around the water cooler or whatever, maybe at work, or that directed conversation, It's there to frustrate you. Lateral comparisons, they're a powerful tool. It's a good thing that people can reach out online or look at channels like this because they just don't have anybody to relate with. Okay? your situation is going to be way different from all the people around you. You're going to be isolated just in your circumstances, if nothing else. And, guys, it took me a long time to realize this. Okay, so don't get frustrated with me. But and I see a lot of people that'll make videos, and they might even make videos every day, venting their frustration and so forth. And that's okay. You got to channel that energy. But you need to know that, these people know they're doing the wrong thing. They know that they're doing something illegal. You don't have to tell them how right you are. You can make 50 videos a day about how bad these people are and, what's going to happen to them and so forth. So they're just laughing. And this is why. Because they want you to be consumed with this stuff. They want you to be focused on it all the time. They want you to be fuming. And if you're not walking around with your hand on your head, jumping from one foot to the next, trying to figure out how to solve this, and getting frustrated, and just, remembering all the baloney that they've done to you, it's going to frustrate the hell out of them. It drives them nuts. That's probably the best strategy that you're going to find, because you can deal with this whenever you want. It's always there. You can take an hour out of your day. You can take 5 hours out of your day. You can do whatever you want. But you want to try to focus on something else, okay? Because it's just going to play into their strategy, I started out just playing a little game with myself, pretending, that I wasn't dealing with it, right? I didn't think about it. When other things, got brought up, I looked at it as a possible way for me to become agitated. And as I started to work around it, it wasn't easy at first. I realized that I was, kind of empowered by it. And you got to see the strategy involved in this whole thing. Yeah, people are yanking your chain. You can be aware that you're being stalked and harassed and bullied and everything. But I wasn't aware of the reciprocal effects, right? It's that gift that keeps on giving. So when you're around other people and they might be talking about this or that and you're triggered, and I'm not talking about, thinking that people are harassing you. I'm talking about everyday life that you're going to sit there and just, wonder how you're going to fix this stuff, or get frustrated, or even if you get drawn into that conversation where you might trust someone or whatever, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to solve it? That isn't any kind of life to live. And then you start mulling around about that, and you can get depressed. Okay, bad stuff can happen at that point because you get into a cycle. Okay, and whatever it is, doesn't matter if it's anger or depression, frustration. You're trying to solve this whole issue. You can't do that. You can't control other people, right? You get caught in that grind. Okay, and you have to break out of it, and it's not easy once you get into it because emotions are involved, right? So and it was hard to do at first, but looking at all the things that you have to be thankful for in spite of what you're dealing with, that's where I started. Because there are things, guys, that are going okay for you. You might disagree with that. Okay, and I can understand why, especially if you're homeless or whatever, and you're dealing with, a lot of types of deprivation and destitution and frustration. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be frustrated, but what I'm saying is you have to break out of it and empower yourself. And, even if you're in that place where you're living in your vehicle or whatever outside, a department store in a parking lot or whatever, you haven't been diagnosed with, some type of horrible disease. I mean, I had to get to that point where I would sit there and say, well, I haven't been diagnosed with cancer. Hell, that's pretty good. There's people dying up at the hospital right now, and there's nothing they can do about it. This stuff might stop. These people might get caught. God might change what's going on. You never know. You never know. There's still, even if it's a slim sliver of hope, there's still something there, right? And if you focus on that instead of all the things that are bad, because that's the propensity, you will be empowered. And plus, just putting it on the shelf and not thinking about it, you're short-circuiting that whole strategy that they have for you, okay? Because they want you to be consumed. Because what's it going to do? It's going to get you into that emotional state. And everything else that you're trying to accomplish is going to be completely hindered by that, okay? And know that when you do that, when you break out of that, and there you are, like the little Energizer bunny, bebopping along without a care in the world, seemingly, even if you're just pretending, it drives them nuts, right? They love to see people making videos of, I'm going to, and I'm going to bring a lawsuit against this, and this is ridiculous, and my gosh, and people are frustrated, and they're just sitting back laughing because that's what they wanted, right? They want you to be consumed. They want you to be frustrated. They want you to get emotional because at that point, everything else goes down the drain and you can be manipulated. And the temptation is always to feel out of control, right? It's a forced type of silence. You can't say anything. It's there to frustrate you. It's there to isolate you. But if you flip that around, okay, and just let it go, quit trying to solve this stuff for a while, and just, play that little game that I'm talking about, you're not going to be caught in that cycle, okay? You're not being forced to be silent about this stuff because you're not thinking about it. You're not worried about it. You're not sitting around mulling it over. You're letting them work, and you're not being manipulated, okay? There may be things that you're going to have to do in the meantime. You're going to have to maintain your security system. There's protocols that you're going to have to do. There's going to be inconveniences. Okay, I'm not denying that. But if they can't get you into that emotional state, well, they lose. Okay? There's no denying that you're going to have to deal with some things. Okay? That's reality. But if you're not being manipulated, if you're not getting emotional, if you're not letting this stuff drive you nuts, to where you're getting depressed, right? You're looking at the things that you still have that you have to be thankful for. There's always something. You're not trying to solve it. You're not pulling your hair out. You're not running around with your hand on your head. You're not looking at other people and comparing your life to theirs and feeling isolated and out of control. You're in control now. Okay, you are. Believe it or not. And more so than the people around you because they're not dealing with it. And the people that know about this stuff, the people that know what you're dealing with, they're going to be in shock. Because there you are, just walking through, this storm, and you're not losing your mind, you're not pulling out your hair, you're not being hindered because you're not being manipulated emotionally. Okay, and they're gonna lose it. They're going to be shocked. You are going to have the upper hand in a situation where that would seem impossible. Feeling out of control is a part of this type of harassment, and you have to take that back, okay? The sense of injustice that a victim feels when they're experiencing this type of harassment is another tactic. Because all these things are being it's like dealing with a straw man argument, okay? You're being diverted. Your focus is on all the things that it shouldn't be on, okay? When you're observing your harassment, it looks like these people are getting away with it. That's only for now, okay? That's temporary. You have to remember that. That's a temporary thing. And a lot of times it doesn't seem like it. And I've talked about the fact that targeted individuals, they get gaslighted. They believe that somehow these people are going to get away with it or that they deserve it or whatever. And we'll just use the freaky example that you did. We'll say that you did something. We'll say you screwed up really bad and, you started to get this type of harassment or whatever. Well, you know what? They're still not going to get away with it. They're still breaking the rules. And that's why I like to use the biblical criteria. God chastised Israel, and he brought people against them. They got away with it for a while, right? They were used for that judgment process and that hypothetical situation. But after it was over, after the dust cleared, yeah, that's right. They had to pay the piper, right? Nobody gets out of this, okay? And you have to remember that, because the sense of injustice can build up. You feel like you're being forced to be silent. You're alone. You're isolated. These people look like they're getting away with it. And that's what happens in those mass shootings, right? People, they get so frustrated and they get manipulated emotionally, and they forget what's going on, that they have to survive. There's a way to do that. Okay, there is. And sometimes they get provoked. You'll get around those people that will draw them. Well, I'll tell you what, I get a machine gun and just start shooting them. Oh, really? And then what? Then you're going to, kill yourself or go to prison? Oh, that's wonderful. I'll take care of it. No, you wouldn't. And you have to realize that when it comes to being harassed in a situation that seems unjust, a lot of things can get thrown on the table, and that's one of them. And I think the reason that people get to that is because they forget these people are going to be dealt with, and they forget all these other things, that they're being manipulated, and they just get into that emotional state, and they react. Okay, you want to prevent that. It's not about denying reality, it's about accepting it, okay? So look at this like you're Homer Simpson, trying to maintain that nuclear facility, because that's really what you are, right? And all these things that are happening to you are being done with a motive. And the byproduct of that is some pretty dangerous energy, right? And you have to maintain your life. Okay, you have to channel that energy. There's no denying that. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And to prevent from going into meltdown or critical mass, you're going to have to remember the motive. You're going to have to remember they're trying to manipulate you emotionally. They're obfuscating the fact that this stuff is going to be dealt with. They're going to pay. They're going to have to answer to it, whether they understand that or not. That's a reality. Don't get diverted. And you don't have to play the game that they want. You don't have to try and control something that's out of your hands. You can deal with this stuff another way. And that you always have something to be thankful for. And also, remembering God's on your side. He is. He is on your side. And these things will eventually completely be dealt with. Guys, be good to yourselves. Be safe.